Hey, it's Nick here, and these are my top 5 drummers. I'm gonna start off with probably, I'm gonna say, my favorite drummer of all time, and the best rock drummer of all time, John Bonham. What he did on the drums shaped what a rock drummer really is. The music and the parts are timeless that he made with Zeppelin, and there's so many countless iconic drum parts. You know, whenever somebody asks me, hey, sound check, can you do a line check with the drums, it's When the Levee Breaks or Fool in the Rain or The Crunch or something. And just, you know, the stuff that he was able to do on those big drums and the sound he had, I think the biggest thing that really cemented him as my favorite drummer was the bass drum stuff he did with one pedal, where he, you know, does some stuff that people can't even do with 2 pedals, just with 1. And yeah, he's definitely up there in my top 5. I think I'll go. I can't be doing this gig without mentioning my old man, Phil Collins. Obviously, his drumming kind of shaped the drummer I am, especially on this gig doing his music, and also back home, you know, with the drums he used and just the songwriting. And I think the great thing about his drumming, which, you know, obviously the Genesis stuff has got so many chops, but to me it was the thing that he did is, I think he was one of the best drummers at really playing the song and playing the part for what the song needed, rather than making it complex and trying to be interesting. It was always the perfect part for a song, and I've had to sit down and listen to, you know, his entire catalog over and over, you know, to make sure that I have all my stuff down, and every single time it's just, there's nothing you could really change with some of his parts. So yeah, so he's up there. I'd also go with Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers are one of my favorite bands, but Chad Smith, he was kind of my first drumming hero when I really first started delving into the kind of history of drumming and really rock drumming. And he's just got one of the best grooves out there. And the thing that I really admire about Chad Smith is he started off, when he first joined the Chili Peppers, as just a rock drummer, and he really developed into getting that. He really practiced, and I think really mastered his drumming, because now I've seen them plenty of times in concert, and he blows me away every single time. And I've had the opportunity to meet him, and he's a great guy. And yeah, I just love everything that he's done with the Chili Peppers. He kept it fresh, but he still has, you know, that signature Chad Smith sound. Then I'd go with Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters. A bit newer drummers, just, you know, I could sit here and name all the, you know, great historic drummers like the Neil Pearts, the Keith Moons, the Nick Mason, but you know, keeping it a bit new. Taylor Hawkins, he's just, you know, it's tough to come into a band when you got Dave Grohl as your band leader, and he's also one of my favorite drummers. But Taylor, there's something about him. I also had the chance to meet him, and he, you know, a great dude, but also really just an amazing drummer. And same as Chad Smith, really he's kind of refined his sound as something that really stands out, and is really, all of his drum parts, you know, I mean, they're clearly good enough to impress Dave Grohl every single time they write a song. So really he's a phenomenal drummer. And I also really like Gretsch drums. I always have a soft spot for people who use Gretsch drums. And he uses concert toms as well, so what's there not to like about Taylor Hawkins? And then for the final drummer, it was tough coming up with the list, but I think just for variety's sake, I'm gonna go with Steve Jordan, because there's so many videos, you just sit there and hear him play a song, and he doesn't have to do any fill, just kick, snare, and hat, and it's just one of the best things you've ever heard. He's got probably the best groove in the world, and in my opinion, and he's just everything he does with, you know, less is more kind of mentality, and especially the stuff, you know, he's done with John Mayer and all that. He's just really a great musician as well. As far when I go back to talking about my dad, how he plays the part for what the song needs, that's kind of what Steve Jordan does. He doesn't make it too complex, but he can, in 1 second, outplay any drummer who can, you know, do all the chops, but just with a simple groove, he's just got it. And it's something that I think it inspires me, because I'm always been one of those drummers more about the groove rather than anything else. The chops are great and they're fun to play, but really, groove's what kind of gets you the gig at the end of the day. So yeah, those are my top 5 drummers, and yeah, that's about it. Cool.